Hi friends, welcome back. Today I want to show you some new things that I got that I think are going to be a lot of fun this year for videos, for new paintings, for all sorts of creative endeavors on my part. And I'm just going to dive right in. So first things first, if you don't watch Sarah Renee Clark on YouTube, you're really missing out. She's such a fun artist. She's just a joy to watch. Like, I would love to just be her friend. She's just a treasure. But she makes these. These are called the color cubes. She has two of them. I ended up getting both because I couldn't decide which one I really wanted. And this is volume 2. I'm going to show you volume 1 because I don't want to have to open both of them. And I have one open right over here. So, the top color cube, volume 1. And inside are all these cards that have basically photos and then color breakdowns of what all is in that photo. And you can use these, like pair them together to make painting palettes for whatever you want to work on. And the photos are like, they're all different. So like these are foodie ones. There's a chair and a balloon tied to it. There's florals. There's like cityscapes and like an agave, I think that is. And my big reason for getting these is that I tend to get, those are my sister-in-law's colors right there, I'm gonna tell you. I tend to get in a little bit of a color rut. I really like Viridian green, and I tend to live in the Viridian green area. And I have been really wanting to kind of expand my color choices, and I kept seeing other artists that would use very unique and very particular colors that I would never have thought to put together. So I got these as a way to just kind of play with color in general and to be like, the way that I've seen Sarah do it is that she will pick out several different cards and pair them together to come up with the palette that she wants for whatever painting or project she's working on. So say you like all these vibrant tones, but you want something to kind of bring it down and make it a little bit more earthy. Do you pair it with that? Probably not. It kind of clashes. But what in here could you pair that with to kind of bring the tone down? And not all of them are only like 5 colors. Like this one's got the 6. And then I love that she brings the color all the way to the edge, so you have a much easier time color matching. I would actually probably do this with something like this, which is basically just the muted version, to just kind of bring your shade down a little bit. And I'm actually going to pull those out because I think that would be a fun set to work with. This would also be a really nice way to like mute out a bright palette. So you could straight up put those two together right there. That would be a really pretty color palette. But anyway, so I got these. I couldn't decide which one I wanted of the two that she has, so I just bit the bullet and I got both. And I regret nothing, honestly. I am really happy with both of them. They both have different themes. I can't remember what's in both of them off the top of my head. I'm literally leaving these two out because I think that would be a really fun pairing and not necessarily something I would put together. At least not with like that vibrant pink and that really vibrant green. But these are like, they're just really fun because you wouldn't necessarily think of, oh, I could use a cathedral as inspiration for this painting that I'm working on. But that's really, really pretty, and that's a really pretty color palette right there. And they honestly weren't that expensive. I highly recommend them. I've only had them for like a week, but my idea is that for future videos, I can make draw 10 cards at random, and then I have to pick 2 and paint 2 mini canvases based on the palettes that I picked out. I just think that would be a really fun way to have like unique videos that are more color-based, and I would enjoy that. I really would. I think that would be a lot of fun. So that is the first fun thing that I got, and again, I ended up getting both of them. They're big. They both have an absolute ton of cards in them. Again, it's a lot, but they all have different themes. So like this one I think has food stuff, and this one I think has some underwater stuff, which I think will be really fun. One of my goals for this year is to do an underwater painting, because I haven't done a whole lot of underwater. I have a whole jellyfish thing going on in my living room, but I haven't done a lot of underwater stuff, and I would love to do more underwater just because I think that's really fun. And again, I just haven't done much with that, so I think it would be a really cool thing for me to do. So those are my color cubes. But then many of you know that I started my creativity career as being a writer. I have written, I believe, 15 different novels. Some of them were published for a while. None of them are available right now. If you're super interested in any of them, find me on Instagram and send me a message, because I still have copies in my garage and I can send them to you. But I have really been feeling the itch to start writing again, and I've also really wanted to expand the world that I'm making with the Fox and the Fairy series, and I thought it would be kind of fun to get this, that I'm about to show you, to really expand my horizons in terms of things that I'm either writing or painting about. So I had been getting ads for this for a while. This is the Deck of Worlds by the Story Engine, and I did end up getting the, I believe it was just the straight up Story Engine for 2 of my friends, and then I got the Lore Engine for another one of my friends. They use him for D&D, but I really wanted to play around with it, as I was saying, for art and for writing. So inside you have several different decks of cards. You have region cards, you have landmarks, namesakes, origins, attributes, and advents. And you use these to put together basically like micro settings within a story. So I thought this would be really, really fun to play with for adding new little micro settings to the Fox and the Fairy, and again for coming up with new ideas for writing. Because while I tend to be really good at characters and dialogue and story in general, the world building was always kind of my weak point. So I wanted something that would help with stuff like that. So for example, if we were to draw a region card, we get river, and then we would draw a landmark card. So now we have the option of town or pasture, and I kind of like, we'll say town. So we would tuck it under here. We have a river town. Then we would take a namesake card, and we can do of cloth that weeps, golden, or of secrets. I kind of, because it's a river town, I kind of like that weeps. I think that's really fun. Then we would take an origin card, and we have origin of a now endangered language, created by mistake, acquired in a notoriously bad deal, or appeared overnight. I like that. We're going to go with appeared overnight. Then we pick an attribute. We can do, I've looked at that one so many times, I'm just going to pick a different one. habitat of a subterranean creature, prized source of meat, busy nightlife, or source of natural dyes. Kind of like habitat of a subterranean creature. Maybe we'll tuck that on that side. And then last but not least, we draw an advent card. So this one I have, mass evictions are underway of a social class, community, or a political affiliation, or the land is rapidly flooding, affecting crops, housing, or wildlife. And that last one obviously makes sense for this. And we would tuck that under there. And now we have our little micro setting for our world. And you just make several of these and you eventually have an entire world, which I think is just super cool and really fun. But my big idea is to take this and mix it with these to come up with a setting prompt and then a color prompt. And I'll pick the setting first, obviously. I don't know if that's obvious to me. Pick the setting first and then go through the color cubes and either pick out multiple cards and draw and like draw 10 cards and then pick whatever ones I want out of those 10, or just go through and pick out 2 or 3 that I think would fit the setting to come up with a color scheme that unites with this setting that we've picked out. And I think that will just be really, really fun for some of my bigger paintings. That's probably what you're going to see in my next video. I think that we will sit down and start up on a painting, maybe based on this. This is kind of fun. I don't know if I love the bright colors for this, but we'll see, because this is a fun setting. So a river town, the land is a river town that weeps. The land is rapidly flooding. It appeared overnight, and it's the habitat of a subterranean creature. This could actually be a really fun setting for us to play with in general if we just kept that and made a little world of maybe 5 or 6 paintings that would kind of fill out that world. That could be really, really fun. And I couldn't help myself, and this is what I ended up getting. This was my Christmas present to me, essentially, and I am thrilled. I think that this will be really fun for coming up with different stories and different settings, and then either writing about them, painting about them, or honestly both. I would love if I could write stories that go with all of the paintings, because if you didn't know this, the Fox and the Fairy do have a story. I am fulfilling a story. I'm not painting them in order, I'm painting them in order of inspiration. So they have this whole story that is just kind of coming to life throughout the paintings, and it would be really fun if I had more time, honestly, to sit down and really write out that story. But as that story is reaching kind of its conclusion, which if you watched last week's video, you know that the fairy went home. So there's not a lot left in the story, but I need to come up with something to be the next bit of the story. And I've painted other characters. I have like the badger and the mouse and the snails and all the other little guys and like the hedgehog who are in the world, but they haven't really been added into the story. And my idea was that maybe I make a little micro setting for each of those characters, and then each of those characters can have their own little offshoot story. I think that would be really fun. Let me know if you guys like that idea too, because I would really enjoy that. It would give me an excuse to start writing, and it would make this little box worth it, because honestly it wasn't that expensive. If you play D&D, if you write, if you paint, I actually do really recommend checking out the Story Engine. They have a bunch of different options. They've got like some expansion decks for these too, which is really cool. Eventually I might get those. Maybe they'll be like my birthday present to me or something. But they're really, really fun. I haven't looked through everything yet. I kind of wanted to leave a lot of the cards as a surprise. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. Same with the color cubes. I just kind of in the evenings, we'll just kind of flick through them and pick out a few that I like. I have another little setup over here that I totally forgot about that I was going to tell you about. I have a world and a color scheme that I put together. So I have a road with a meadow, and I took a picture of it so that I wouldn't forget exactly how I set this up. Go to the picture. Okay, a road with a meadow. It's known for its healing properties of guardians. So I'm thinking the road of guardians in a meadow, known for its healing properties. It was created as a gift. I'll go out on this side, that'll be easier to hold. And a strange cloud formation is growing, supposedly caused by wildlife, pollen, or something supernatural. That just sounded like a really cool prompt that I could do a lot with. So I did pull that out as another little micro setting, and for that, I came up with these 3 cards from the color cube as my color inspiration. Let me know how you think of that, because I think that's really fun. It's kind of just helping with a little bit of that creativity block, because again, I get kind of stuck in a rut. I paint mountains. I paint a lot of mountains. I paint a lot of the same trees. And while I really like those, and I really like a lot of my recent paintings, and I like a lot of my paintings in general, but I like my paintings in general anyway. While I like my paintings, while I like where my art is at, I don't want to get stuck painting the same thing all the time. And this just felt like a really fun way to expand on everything that I was already doing, but to kind of prevent that creativity block. And yeah, that is essentially what I wanted to show you. Let me know what you guys think of these. I will leave links in the description box if you're interested in the Deck of Worlds or in the color cube. I love both of these creators and highly recommend them, so I do want to send them support. Neither of them sponsored this, obviously. This was just me buying myself stuff that I have been looking at the color cubes for over a year, and I finally got them, and I am so happy that I finally did it. I'm so happy. Deck of Worlds I've been getting ads for probably like 2 or 3 months. One of my friends, actually, I bought him the story engine for Christmas. For Christmas. And these didn't come in until the end of January. So I gave him his Christmas present in January, and he was so excited. And he had almost bought himself that same thing the Saturday before I gave it to him. And I was like, well, thank goodness he didn't, because he would have had to call and cancel that order. It's your Christmas present. The moral of the story is, don't generally, unless you're me, I guess, because I did this, don't buy yourself things in January if somebody said they have a present for you and it hasn't come in yet. That's the moral of the story. And also art prompts, because art prompts, guys. Thank you for watching and for listening to my ramble about art. And I will see you in a couple weeks, where I'm going to pick one of those 2 prompts that I just showed you, and we're going to start a painting based on that. What do you think?